So for number 14, finally we're on page 4. Graph the function f of x equals negative 2 log base 4 of the quantity x plus 6 plus 2. Graph its asymptote, that's such a silly word, and at least 2 points. So here's the thing. This was, whoopsie, from Delta Math. I'm trying to make my page bigger. Oh, come on. There we go. But really, you should plot any points that are whole numbers, okay? Delta Math, they just cared about the 2 points. So again, I don't have a graphing calculator on my Chromebook. So what you guys have to do is put this into y equals, and then you're going to look at the table. Well, look at the graph first and see where your asymptote is. When you look at this graph, it kind of looks like this. Now, remember, if it's a logarithmic function, it has a vertical asymptote. Exponential is horizontal. So you look on your table or you look on your graph and it looks somewhere on the negative side is where it kind of stops moving to the left. So look on your table, and when you get to -6 on your calculator, it'll say error. So start looking from there. Then there's the point 5, 2, -4, 1, -2, 0. You got to scroll around a little bit. 2, -1, and 10, -2. So on Delta Math, they just wanted 2 points. If you're working with a paper version, like you'll be doing on your test, plot all the whole number points that you can. So I'm going to do -5, 2. Ignore those yellow dots. That's a screenshot from Delta Math. -4, 1, -2, 0. Why, yes, I do talk to myself when I plot points. So -6 is an error. So this thing, shaky hands. Dang, that's not bad for me. So I'm going to be lazy and just label this f of x. You could say f of x equals -2 log, you could write the whole equation. I'm not going to do that. Now I have to plot my asymptote, which is where the error happens. And typically it's a dotted line. And since it's a vertical dotted line, it's x equals -6. So a couple things to take note of. I'll make my little notes in orange. I plotted points. Super important. I labeled the asymptote. You don't have to plot points. I mean, you could. It's not hurting anything, but make sure you label it with its equation. Down here to solve, when you're solving in this unit where the x is in the exponent, you have to get common bases. 1/25 and 125. I'm going to do a common base of 5. So 5 to the -2 is 1/25. And then I'm going to distribute the rest of that exponent. And 125 is 5 to the 3. And I have 10x minus 32. So,
lines are pretty good.
For those of you watching this, the Lions just scored a touchdown. It is 30-17. So if you hear yelling, it is not us at my house. It is the football game. All right, we've got common bases now. So to save a little space, I am going to do my distribution while I rewrite my problem. So -2 to the -x squared, or -2 times -x squared is 2x squared. -2 times -2 is a positive 4. And then on the other side, we have 30x minus 96. So unfortunately for all of us, we have an exponent of 2, which you all know means we have to factor. So we have to get one side equal to 0. So I'm going to subtract 30x and add 96 on both sides of my minus 30x plus 96. So I have 2x squared minus 30x plus 100 equals 0. Take note, I wrote this in standard form, biggest exponent to smallest. If you wrote 2x squared plus 100 minus 30x, your trinomial is going to be a little funky and you're going to have some trouble factoring. So to factor this, holy review, take your 2 GCF out. So we have x squared minus 15x plus 50 equals 100. So ignore the next problem. I'm going to erase that. If you needed to, you could do quadratic formula for this. I am going to choose not to. So it's trinomial x multiply to 50, add to negative 15 is minus 10 and minus 5. Now, when you set your factors equal to 0, 2 is a factor, but it is inconsequential, so it does nothing. We have x minus 10 equals 0, so x equals 10. X minus 5 equals 0. X equals 5. So in theory, you should check your work always and make sure there's nothing to reject. But I'll tell you, in this unit, we're not worrying about rejecting anything. Everything will work. Last problem on this page. Solve for x. Log base 81 of x equals negative 3 over 4. If you want, you can write negative 0.75. It means the same thing. So x is the number. What I'm going to do, they started with a log, so I'm going to convert it to exponential form. Base, number, exponent. So to put it in exponential form, 81 exponent, negative 3/4 equals x. Okay, well the x is already on one side, so I just need to evaluate 81 to the negative 3/4. So that is the 4th root of 81 to the negative 3. It's already looking good because I know the 4th root of 81 is 3. So 4th root of 81, 3 to the negative 3rd equals x. Well, I know 3 to the 3rd is 27. Since it's a negative exponent, it's 1 over 27. And that is your answer.